I bike everywhere. I actually do not own a vehicle. I prefer to ride a bike. My sole means of transportation is cycling. But for me, it's a choice to ride a bike. I tell them I'm not forced to ride a bike because I can't afford a car. I choose not to drive a car. I commute to work by cycling every day. This is my bicycle behind me right here. I live about 1.5 miles away from where I work, trying to minimize my carbon footprint and not pollute the environment more than I have to. When I first went to college, I joined up with the IU cycling team. So as part of our cycling team, we rode a couple 100 miles throughout the week, average about 200 miles on the weekend. We'd race against other universities on the weekend as team racing sports. I got very competitive and rode in the little 500 for my fraternity in college. After that, in the various cities I lived in, Chicago, Orlando, different parts of Indiana, I prefer to live between 1 and 5 miles from where I work so I can always commute by cycling on my bike. For me, it's much more exciting, it's more thrilling. It's a downtime before work, it's a downtime after work to relax. There's no road rage. I don't have to stop at red lights. I don't have to stop at stop signs. You just avoid being hit by cars and that's it. But I really prefer riding a bike and having the wind against my face as opposed to being stuck in the car, paying the insurance, paying the taxes, possibly being in a more serious accident.
I've been riding to work every day since my daughter was born. So when my daughter was born, my wife wanted to stay home, so we were looking at our budget and kind of talking about, ways we could scale back to one income. And she said, "You spend a lot of money on beer." And I said, "Let's get rid of the second car." The main reason was to save money.
When I moved to Indianapolis, I got rid of my car. So I've been biking as my main form of transportation for a little over 2 years in Indianapolis. Before that, I owned a car, but I considered biking to be my main form of transportation.
The majority of the time I commute by bike. If the weather's bad or I just feel like walking, I'll walk. I never drive a car though.
I live in the Bates-Hendricks neighborhood. It's on the southeastern side of downtown Indianapolis. The grocery store is about 2.5 to 3 miles away. I commute there back and forth. Seeing my parents is about a 4-mile bike ride. My sister's about a 3-mile bike ride. So my sole means of transportation is cycling. The weather does play a large role in this. I mean, as you can imagine, it's going to rain, it's going to snow, it's going to be hot, it's going to be cold. You have to dress accordingly for this.
I always, no matter what the weather's doing, I just dress for it and go.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea to plan ahead for conditions as much as you can, but you need to be prepared for changing conditions.
Year round, like I said, I'll walk sometimes if the roads are really icy and I just don't feel like dealing with the roads or traffic. I'm lucky enough that I can walk.
On days that it does rain, it's a little difficult. Your tires will slick, there will be accidents. People will drive more recklessly even though they think they're driving more safely. I have been to Indy before. I go to Joe's Bicycle Garage a lot. There's a lot of inner-city bicycle races that go on. There's a lot of people out there who can help you fix up your bike, answer questions for. There's more bike enthusiasts out there. It's not just a small group of people anymore. There is an actual niche out there, and there's people out there who are supporting and trying to get more people into cycling.
I work at Bicycle Garage Indy, downtown at the Hub, and my title is head mechanic. We've been here since September of last year. The facility is designed around bicycle commuters that are commuting to work downtown. So it's a partnership between BGI, the shop that I work for, and the YMCA, and also the city market in the city, but we're the ones that run it. They have an indoor parking facility that's got 150 secure parking spaces for bikes, and then they have locker rooms and showers on the second floor. The idea being that you can bike in all sweaty, have a place to put your gear in your bike and not worry about it, take a shower, and then walk the rest of the way to work. The other amenities on top of that, so beyond just being a bike commuter center, we've got accessories that you might need as a commuter, any of the gear, clothing that you might need. We do full service repair, so anything that you can throw at us, we can take care of. And then the YMCA, on top of that, has a full fitness facility. So they do all the treadmills, they have weights, free weights, weight machines, and then they do classes all throughout the week. So it's, it's a commuter center, but it's also a hub for healthy living and healthy urban living. So it's pretty neat. So it runs the gamut. I mean, flats are the most common thing. Little barrel adjusts, lubing a chain, and airing up tires. So our very basic stuff where it's a couple bucks and we get you rolling. And then we go all the way up to full deluxe overhauls, which are basically disassembling a whole complicated bike system, cleaning every part, inspecting every part of it, and rebuilding it from the ground up. We do less of those big repairs in the summer, but during the winter we do tons of overhauls. We have a very diverse group of people that are using the facility in some way. Whether that's just coming in to use the free air pumps or people that are coming in to work out. We work on the most expensive bikes I've ever seen in my life, and we work on stuff that's just barely staying on the road. We have all kinds of people commuting. I would say that I've seen a really big rise in kind of young professionals taking to the road by bike instead of some other way.
Bike facilities are a relatively new thing in the United States. I mean, Portland's been doing it, and other cities have been doing it for 20 years, but it's really started to gain a lot of traction. I think people really began to start thinking about it with the development of the Monon Trail, and it really gave people an option, a place to ride or run, just exercise, just be out. So not only was it a great place, but it also connected a lot of our city together. So it runs down to 10th Street, which is gets you into downtown, but it also connects Broad Ripple all the way up to Carmel and even Westfield now. So that really gave people the opportunity to get out and get on their bike and go somewhere. So as opposed to people who might just, when they're young, ride around a cul-de-sac or just ride for enjoyment, people started to think more about it as, I want to ride my bike to get somewhere. Maybe I ride to Broad Ripple to get a bite to eat, or ride downtown to go to a museum or something like that. So I think that really started the movement, so to speak, I guess, in Indianapolis. But really in terms of taking that to the next level, and we had other greenways that had developed even before the Monon, the Fall Creek Greenway, Pleasant Run on the south side, the Canal Path. But in terms of the on-street facilities, bike lanes, that really got going about 4 or 5 years, probably not 5 years now, with Mayor Ballard and really his commitment to creating a city that is more livable and provides more transportation options. We really went from technically zero miles of on-street bike lanes to about 72 miles as we speak right now, and that's just on-street bike lanes. Our greenway system is about 62 miles and growing. So it's really his vision, and it's really also happened at the same time as people moving back into the city. I mean, Indianapolis over the last 50 years has really been sucked dry, so to speak, of people moving out to the suburbs for various number of reasons, but I think people are really starting to move back into the city and see the opportunities that the city holds, and not only that, but it's quite affordable relative to a lot of other cities around the country of this size.
For me personally, I feel like the bike trails and the bike lane are very well laid out downtown. Your first time riding a bike, it can be difficult, especially on New York Street. They have the bike lane on the far right, and they have 2 driving lanes. Once you get to Delaware, the bike lane cuts in, and they have the parallel parking spots, then it cuts in more, and you have your turn lane. And you have to keep an eye out over your left-hand shoulder as you make these sharp turns. Same as East Street, once you cross over the bridge, just after Eli Lilly, you have to literally cross over 2 lanes of traffic to stay in the bike lane. So I would say from experience, go onto MapQuest, plan out the bike lanes and bike trails. Those are on there for a reason, so you can see it's not just a straight shot north and south. It's going to bend back and forth depending on turn lanes and parallel parking. I prefer riding my bike downtown, not so much on the bike lanes, which may be frowned upon, but riding actually in the lane so I can weave back and forth, and it's a lot safer for me. Now there is the cultural trail setup, which is set up for, here's the walking path, here is the jogging path, here is the cycling or rollerblading path. That does work in a lot of places. However, in the immediate center of downtown by Circle Center and Monument Circle, people on the cultural trail do not follow those guidelines. People just walk everywhere, and it's impossible for me personally to ride my bike on that cultural trail. However, once you go out towards Fountain Square down Virginia Street, the cultural trail is very beneficial. I'm never going to push my beliefs on any other people. If someone asks me about cycling, I'll definitely sit down and have a real conversation with them. It's nice to see someone who's interested in making a lifestyle change. And to a certain degree, giving up a motor vehicle and replacing a bicycle can be a lifestyle change. You're going to get healthier, it's going to be cheaper, it's a complete change in everything. I would allow an open forum within inside neighborhoods. They always have each neighbor get-togethers once a month, or else open forums at workplaces. I know we have our own personal trainer at work, and they have message boards saying boot camp training, step class, and they bring in guest speakers like dietitians, other fitness instructors. So either a forum at work or a neighborhood watch, you can bring in people and say, look, 10% of your neighborhood people, 10% of your employees here bike to work. Listen to their stories. There's pros and there's cons to riding a bike or driving a vehicle. If you're on the fence about it, try it for a week, see how it goes. First step, don't use the elevators, use the stairs. Are you okay with that? Can your heart and your legs take that? If so, try riding a bike.
I live in the city. I live downtown on the south edge of Fountain Square. I don't own a car. Since I moved into the inner city of Indianapolis from Carmel, I got rid of my car. So I feel like the cultural trail is kind of the best way for me to get around from place to place downtown. It offers a really safe way for me to ride my bike without having to ride in the street. I don't have to worry about cars, traffic, stuff like that. It's nice because you also see a lot of other people on bikes when you're on the cultural trail. I think you should get out and use the cultural trail if you want to see the city or if you just want to get from point A to point B. It's a great way to get around downtown. It's a great way to see the sights, and it's a great way to get some good exercise.